Hey guys, so as you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently this time. We don't have much time here, so we're just going to record this live. Well, as live as it is for us versus for you. Anyways, we just got out of the Sony Press conference a little over an hour ago. And I thought we'd just quickly discuss our impressions of it and compare it to Microsoft's earlier in the day. Now, I know you, Ryan, and Derek are both huge Sony fans, so let's get your impressions first. There was a lot riding on this conference. Because there was a lot we didn't know about the PS4. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, the PS4 was sort of the unknown quantity, even though they showed it a little bit earlier. But there was so much that came out from the Xbox that we needed to compare. So I think they did an excellent job with it because they gradually revealed all the things we wanted to know. They would show we needed to know the price, the design, and when it was coming out, and whether it have those nasty DRM policies that the Xbox One has and we all have troubles with. And they addressed each one in turn, showed off games in between, and just did a really great job of making a very impressive conference. I mean, I don't know a single person that hates this conference. I think everybody knows.
Everyone at Microsoft.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think that was a pretty good summary, actually. But how about you, Ryan? What's your take?
I mean, in terms of just like pure games that they showed, I wasn't really surprised by a lot of them. I mean, they showed things that like already coming out like next week or this week really with The Last of Us, and they're showing Infamous Second Son. But overall, in terms of games, like if things looked good, it was the kind of games I want to see, and I don't just want to see these AAA games. I like seeing these indie games. And then finally, they actually addressed right in the beginning Vita, and they spent a fair amount of time with it and to really emphasize the fact that it is a part of this PlayStation ecosystem that they keep talking about. So I think overall they covered all those areas quite well, and with the expansions of PlayStation Plus and how that may affect multiplayer aside, I think they did a really good job with it. All
right, so for both of you, Sony nailed it apparently. Okay,
absolutely.
How about you, Tom? You're not quite as big a Sony fan. I mean, you're just not as on board the Sony ship as these two guys are.
Yeah, I'm not like on there on the lookout tower.
Yeah, you're not the one who would go down with a ship if it were sinking.
I'd be by the lifeboats.
So what are your thoughts on their press conference?
Well, going through what Ryan said with the Vita, it's great they remembered it and didn't just sort of put it off in some corner and say we'll have Vita stuff some other time. But the thing is, they didn't show many new games for the Vita. I felt they didn't show hey, this is coming down the pipeline.
I totally agree. That was my thought too. I mean, Ryan mentioned that they did do a better job of presenting the Vita, as you just did too. But they didn't. I felt like they didn't show that much of it still.
The day, and I can't remember. It's even been an hour, 3 hours ago. Let's be serious. And I can't remember any new announced games for the Vita.
Did they? I mean, Ryan, you'd probably pick it. Yeah, no.
It was more about the services available for the Vita.
Right.
I mean,
coming to the Vita.
What they did mention is they re-emphasized the fact that certain games are coming there. That they're going to see Final Fantasy X and X-2 again and stuff like that. So they're saying hey, this is still coming because whatever Square Enix is doing right now.
Right.
Well, I guess we know what they're doing right now. But
we kind of learned a little bit about that.
But in terms of it's more hey, you're going to have cross-game play and all that other nonsense wrapped in. So please buy this because no one else is.
So speaking of games, both conferences showed off quite a few games actually, I'd say. And so how did you think the two stacked up? Which appealed to you more? And then which do you think just did a better job, in general, of showcasing games that the public, that people buying these consoles would want to pick up?
Yeah. Well, personally, I've always been a Sony fan. There's the whole reason I never picked up a 360 is because none of the exclusives ever really appealed to me in any way. They did do a better job, Microsoft, with their exclusives. They look interesting. Very jealous of the fact that they're getting that Insomniac game, even though we didn't get to see much of it. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but the new Insomniac game that just brought a sense of fun that Fuse does not have, and kind of jealous of that. And they had some good games, but I really enjoyed all the Sony exclusives. I
could tell, watching you during the Sony conference, you really enjoyed.
Can we have a reenactment of that? I missed it.
It was basically
no, there was a specific point for that. I don't know if this ever came across yet, but if you've familiar with the whole Kingdom Hearts timeline I put up on the actual site of GameXplain, you know I'm a pretty major fan of that. And so when I saw the potential when they announced that Nomura was coming out, I was like, oh god, yes. And then because I thought Versus 13 was dead, just pure vaporware. I wasn't expecting to hear anything about it. And then they showed it, and then they announced it was 15, which wasn't all that unexpected. The gameplay looks good. It's weird that it's a number title now because it almost looks like an offshoot with the different gameplay they're showing. I want to take a closer look at it later down the line, but it still looks quite good and definitely more fun than 13.
So was kicking a ball down the street.
And then they said one more thing. And as soon as the Disney logo came up, I'm sure you saw this, legs came up, put my arms around my knees, and I just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
It was pretty amazing.
I truly I never quite understood how people got so excited for the Twilight Princess announcement back in the day.
But now you know.
That was exactly how it is for me. I was literally just so pumped at seeing it, and I want it, but I know it's probably a good year, 2 years out.
What's the weapon, the key thing he uses called?
Keyblade.
You're sporting a major keyblade during that.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, don't worry, that's Andre and me tomorrow at the Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's true.
Minus those keyblades.
Just wait. Kingdom Hearts was on Nintendo console.
That's true. So Kingdom Hearts definitely your.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw Kingdom Hearts announced, sold. I have bought every single console that a Kingdom Hearts game has come out on. It's a weakness, I admit it, but I love the damn series that much. So as soon as I saw that it was announced for PlayStation 4, I was like,
"You're on board.
I'm on board.
Day one.
Please, Sony, don't screw me over with the rest of their system." And thank God they didn't.
Right.
Everything about it, the DRM, the price point is excellent.
Yeah, we know you're in love with it. Okay, how about you, Ryan? What do you think of the games in general? How they compare between the two, and what was your favorite game?
I feel like I took away what with Titanfall, that was kind of the game from Microsoft that I was really impressed with, and I liked, and I want to see more of.
I'm not a big fan of shooters, as you guys probably well know. I thought the game looked really cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's a one shooter that they showed off that actually looked like it was doing some new things.
Yeah, it looked fast and fun.
Right, exactly.
Big scale.
Big scale's good.
Now, is it multi-platform, or is this exclusive to the Xbox One?
Exclusive?
I believe it's 360, Xbox One, and maybe PC.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I want to say it's hard to tell.
It doesn't matter at this point.
It doesn't matter.
It was at their conference, and
it looked good.
So, of all the games they show, because otherwise, their Forza 5 car porn was whatever. But yeah, I didn't really get a lot out of Xbox's conference. Maybe just because of all the technical difficulties that kind of took things away. And also, a lot of the games that did show have this... My ongoing gripe with a lot of games now is that they have this kind of muted color palette. Everything is just so hard to see.
That's been the case for probably 7 years now, almost.
Yeah, I know. And I love Battlefield. I'm not sure I want to get into Battlefield 4. Just because it's so hard to see everything except for orange, which is the only color that seems to be highlighted.
Well, there's a lot of blue this time. We're in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, Blue Ocean strategy.
Navy blue.
And how about you, Tom? What is your overall, impression of the games, comparing between the two conferences and your overall favorite?
Well, it looked like the Xbox One had a lot of more AAA titles, but the thing is nowadays I kind of like the indie titles more. So. It's like when you see all those indie titles going to PlayStation, it's
and it was especially
awesome.
comical because when they mentioned when Microsoft mentioned, what did they say?
They said that we were the leader in indie games,
right? And you just cracked up.
Is honestly the second funniest joke all night because after all of Sony's jibes at Xbox.
Yeah, so Sony really showcased.
I was like, oh my god, really, guys?
Yeah.
We're into indie games. Here's Minecraft.
So Sony really did showcase that they really are the place to go for indie games as far as consoles are concerned. It seems at this point, it seems like Wii is catching up.
Yeah.
So that really appealed to you.
Well, that appealed to me. What else? They had Killer Instinct, which is sort of neat, but it's on Xbox One, so I probably won't have it for a long time.
Well, Killer Instinct is such a weird thing. I felt like. It's awesome that they're making it. I feel like, and it's. And we all kind of expected when they said they were going to bring back a historic franchise.
Why wasn't Viva Pinata?
Right, exactly. or it's like a crossover killer pinata, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like they kind of bungled the whole reveal of Killer Instinct. Like,
it was so underplayed.
They showed it felt like a 30-second trailer. They showed almost no gameplay.
They didn't play it up at all.
They didn't play it.
Some
It was
review,
like-
some black shading,
Right.
and maybe like going along the lines of the K, like sort of like Batman one with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Something like
literally
that.
they didn't need to show any more of the actual game. Really, just the way they framed it, the way they treated it, just felt so off. So like non
It's like, here, have a
uneventful.
bone.
Yeah.
Here's the game you know about already.
Then they showed it again, as not about the game though, but as part of another feature set, which is being able to share videos, which is
Yeah.
cool by itself. But it just it just felt like such a not an impressive way of showcasing that game.
Exactly, and I'm not the biggest fighter fan, but it even looks like there doesn't seem to be a lot to it. Yeah, they had the whole huge combo thing, but I never played. I admit I never really played Killer Instinct, but I compare it to what I recently played with Marvel vs. Capcom or Mortal Kombat or even Injustice,
Right.
and it just doesn't seem to have that same kind of polish. But who knows how new it is?
Yeah, I mean,
Who knows how long it's till it comes
I
out?
did get like a slight shiver or an eternal shiver, I'll call it, but I didn't actually shiver. But like when I heard was it Combo Breaker?
No, I think it was just combo.
Yeah, that shit. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good to see that back. Okay, so Tom overall, so PSN or the PlayStation 4 is what?
Well, like Titanfall is the most impressive game for me. Like you said,
Individually,
with the wall jump.
right.
It's like Mirror's Edge in a first-person shooter, like massive game, like
just right
going on
through
the
the
walls,
The
and
mech
jetpacks.
combat,
Yeah.
and grabbing another guy out of the mech once you got him.
I thought it was cool.
So many different
ejecting
options.
out of this and landing on the
Shooting
other
a
mechs.
mech while it's dropping down to screw over a guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't quite tell, but when you exit your mech, it almost looked like it became a turret while
Yeah,
you were doing other stuff.
that's right,
And you picked
yeah.
it back up and
Right.
put it back in the
Right.
mech, and
Yeah.
looks like there's a lot of really cool options there.
Right.
I mean, it's no World of Tanks, but it's pretty good.
Overall, though, if you have PlayStation 4 in the end, you'll have Destiny, which probably pretty close.
yeah.
It's not quite the same.
It's-
And you're
It's
going
a
to
very
have a
different
new
feel.
Killzone, which is also fairly popular
But
on PlayStation. I know it's definitely
it's-
never going to be the same hype as something like Halo.
It isn't, but they've
Right.
actually, I think they've taken note because that whole area they show is a lot of forest area there. I didn't really notice much brown there. Is woods and a kind of a different setting for Killzone, which has always been sort of very dystopic.
Oh, well, I was going to say, though, that was good with the settings, but like starting off the Xbox conference with that Rome game, and
Oh,
it looked kind of good, but it kind of also looked like Eternal Darkness at the same time
Right.
with the character models.
Uh,
But being limited on the gameplay, sort of with those button presses, like is this the next generation of gaming? Like being told what to do.
It was so scripted. I mean, I was like staring at the guy playing it. I don't even know, trying to watch his hand, and I swear he barely touched the thing, the controller,
Right.
because it was like do a few hits, do a finisher with the button press,
Stab
and
a guy
yeah,
in
they
the
were
back
kind
of
of
the neck
dynamic. But even
every
during
time.
that demo, I saw a repeat.
Right.
So it's like, no.
Now, speaking of general game appearances, I would say, I'm curious how you guys thought the visuals stacked up. For me, when I was watching the Microsoft conference, I thought... So, when I was watching the Metal Gear part, I haven't followed Metal Gear Solid 5 that closely.
Yeah.
So I actually had no idea what systems it was going to. And I was looking at it, I'm like, that's not very good looking for that doesn't look that impressive for a next-generation game.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized it was on Xbox 360. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good looking. But then it is on Xbox 360, right?
I'm pretty sure that's Xbox
Oh wait, no,
One.
it is Xbox One. I'm
That
already
is
confusing
Xbox
myself.
One.
Yeah.
So okay, basically that's my point.
Yeah.
It didn't look that impressive to me for a next gen game. Whereas if it were on 360, I felt like its visuals reflected that at 360, but looked good for it. And I thought in general, most of the Xbox One games.
I know what you mean. I definitely agree with you. They just didn't have that visual punch, but I do think Metal Gear Solid 5 was probably the most visually impressive
Of the Xbox One
yeah,
games.
because I'm trying to remember. It's been years since I played Metal Gear Solid 4. I've only played through it once, but I think if you put the Metal Gear Solid 4 gameplay next
side by
to
side.
5, you will see a major difference between the two. And I honestly, I heard about 5. I was pretty satisfied with 4's ending. I wasn't really all that hyped, but as soon as I saw that gameplay trailer, I am very interested in 5 now.
No, the gameplay looks. No, don't get me wrong. The gameplay looks great. I just don't think like visually, it's in it. Almost every game at the Xbox conference like didn't. They didn't show a single game that made me think this is next gen.
Yeah.
Whereas at the PlayStation 4 conference, I would still say that applies. I don't think anything they showed was like screamed like nothing showed like was a jump that we've seen in previous generations.
You don't think with Quantum Dream shows like whenever they always do tons of demos, but I feel like they did a lot with what they had.
Well, I was like more impressed than I thought I would be with that Dark Sorcerer thing.
Well, so I was getting I mean, I thought the PS4 games actually looked really good. I just don't think I don't think that we can even have jumps anymore like we had before.
No,
but I do think there seems to be a clear generational gap. Well, maybe not generational gap, but a clear distinction between Xbox One and PS4 at this point. And I was wondering if you guys noticed that as well.
It may not be as clear, but I feel like once you start looking at it more and more, you see like more things in the environment that look a lot like more sharper and maybe have some more intelligence to it, like anything like that.
Well, like even watching, was it Watch Dogs where we saw the car footage, I think?
Yeah,
and like the reflections on the car, like the whole thing just came together. I thought
I was trying to pay attention to the animations and whatnot.
So to be clear, though, you think PlayStation 4 looked better than Xbox One?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can go with that. Like, look at Destiny. That was very sharp, while Titanfall was maybe a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, definitely. If you compare those two directly, Destiny is the clear winner as far as fidelity.
But to be fair, we also don't know what engines they're running on.
Yeah.
That could be completely like a deal breaker on that.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I mean, you and I are Wii U fans, so it's not like graphics matters. Really,
oh my god!
Yeah.
The Metal Gear game that I'm going to buy doesn't look like next generation. Oh no!
So I guess we should talk about Metal Gear a little. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something? Okay, I guess we should talk about Metal Gear. Or were you? One of you? Okay, good. We'll go on then.
I mean, now.
I guess let's talk about Metal Gear a little bit more, just because that is a big game. I thought it looked awesome. Like, I thought it looked really cool. Like, you know, the using the horse as like a stealth cover. Yeah.
One thing though, don't those guys say, "What's that horse doing?"
In the trailer?
I guess
like, what? No, like, you know,
in their head, yeah.
What do they think? Like, hey, what's that horse in the saddle? Maybe like a hat going, or like, what's
maybe
it doing?
That's true.
Are horses really common in Afghanistan?
You know, it didn't look like he actually hit himself that well, too. He's
I like the quick dive when he was trying to get out of the way of the
that looked really cool, and it
like,
didn't look like I hate in game. Yeah, like normally in the game when you dive like that, you have to wait for him to get back up, and he looked like he got up like really fast, and it didn't look unnatural either. Like it looked really smooth.
Yeah. Now I know, you guys aren't really big Metal Gear Solid fans, and the whole.
I like some of them.
I
like them.
bothered to review the thing on Vita. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
We put that.
I was more focusing on Andre and.
Metal Gear Solid 3, I think, is a brilliant game.
Oh yeah, probably my favorite in the series, honestly. But,
objectively, it's
there's that big controversy about David Hayter getting replaced by Kiefer Sutherland as the voice actor. I was just wondering what you guys thought, because I think we got maybe two lines from Kiefer Sutherland as Snake.
You know, to be completely honest, if I hadn't known he had been replaced, I don't think I would have even noticed.
I don't think I would have noticed.
I would have noticed, because Hayter has that very
no, he does.
Role.
I just don't think like in the trailer we heard enough of it for me to have really noticed. But from what I heard, it sounded fine.
Yeah, Sutherland did do a pretty good job with this. The performance, the 2 lines performance, but yeah. So hopefully there's not too much to worry about. Maybe Hayter will get another character, maybe.
I mean, not to hate on Hayter or anything, but like there's a clear like PlayStation 2, like when we had voice acting back in those games, like they weren't fantastic. They were like okay for the time, you know, maybe good, and like as time has changed and as technology changed and everything else like that, I feel it's completely appropriate that they made a change to it. Potentially better voice actor.
Yeah,
I mean,
after all these years,
I mean, like Hayter, like he does sound a little bit campy in that role, and which is a shame because I know that he's a pretty good voice actor. You know, obviously, he gets big roles.
Well, let's be honest, Metal Gear Solid's always been a little campy.
I know, but if they seem to want to take it a little bit more serious.
It does seem a bit more serious.
A
little bit.
But
they're going to jump the
shark. Like
the introduction of the characters.
Yeah, that's true. I saw that. And I'm like, oh, they're going total goofball again.
Yeah, they got like some kid.
Yeah, and they have those wacky titles, and don't get me. That's part of the charm of Metal Gear. But I kind of wish, you know, I don't know the way they structured that trailer didn't totally blow me away, I guess. But
Yeah.
I think the original Phantom Pain, or that what they called it, Metal Gear Solid 5. After, like, you know, we had the Phantom Pain trailer, but then we had the
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain trailer. When we had that one kind of blew me away more. This one, showing the gameplay, you're like, oh yeah, you know, there is gameplay. You have to see these trailers. Less so.
I actually thought that was kind of cool though that they actually did show gameplay, which we
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was interesting too how they fast forwarded the footage, which is it's kind of like you guys don't need to see this, just move it along. It's like what I do with my video guides.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of the setting of Metal Gear? Like,
The Afghanistan setting?
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it has potential. I mean, we've done forests. We haven't really done a lot of whole deserts in Metal Gear Solid. There was a one little section.
I mean, depending
in
on like
5.
what time period this is actually being set in, I'm not fully up to date with it.
No.
It makes sense with the whole like Soviet tie.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
It does. If I had to guess, it's probably 80s. Early 80s, maybe late 70s, because
It's got to tie
I
into.
believe you're still playing as
Big Boss. Right.
Because he rescued. I forget the guy's first name, but Miller, and there was a Master Miller
Right.
in
Yeah.
the original Metal Gear Solid, so it has to take place before that,
That's right. Yeah.
I guess after Peace Walker, like
probably.
after Peace Walker,
Probably after Peace Walker, and
Is it, like, around,
before
like, Bay
Metal
Cave
Gear.
stuff, or I forget.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we might who knows? Maybe Hader is playing Solid Snake in his younger days.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? That'd be quite the surprise after all of
because
this.
there's been a lot of teasing about
Yeah.
Hader, so I think that might be our big reveal. Is that because the time frame is starting to match up where Solid Snake should exist and should be like almost a rookie.
Right.
yeah,
That's true.
One of the things in the series, like in Metal Gear, not Metal Gear Solid, you have a fist fight with Big Boss on a minefield.
Yeah.
or something. Or is it him, or is it the ninja?
No, it's probably big.
The ninja guy, I think. No, wait.
Which one are we talking about? Metal Gear or Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear. But the ninja
That
that
was
came back
probably
in Metal
Big
Gear
Boss.
Solid, I think that was a guy you fought at one point too.
Yeah, well,
Gray Fox?
Gray Fox.
Fox.
The Gray Fox became the cyborg ninja in Metal Gear Solid.
Okay, well,
And you
I
might
thought you fought
maybe
Big
it was Metal
Boss.
Gear 2 where you fought. Yeah, it was Metal Gear 2. Where you fought Gray Fox in the middle of a minefield, and that's why you thought he was dead for Metal Gear Solid.
Well, either way, I'm pretty sure Snake fights Big Boss at some point, and our YouTube viewers can correct us.
Yeah, they'll,
Right.
they'll take care of us with that.
Now, speaking, I'm gonna pretend that we ended on talking about deserts because I want to use that as a segue to my next topic, which was the Halo 5, right? Is it Halo 5 now?
Halo
They just called it
just Halo, right?
Which is confusing to me because it's like.
It's like they're rebooting everything Microsoft. You got the Xbox One, you've got just
that's
Halo
what it's going to
now.
be called. It's going to be Halo 1.
Yeah.
Halon.
I was kind of expecting like a Last Guardian to suddenly be on Xbox.
No, when I first saw the trailer, I was thinking Journey.
I had no idea what that was. Like I was actually thinking like Shadow of the Colossus at some point.
Well, what we got earlier, where Microsoft is trying to do Little Big Planet, so I was like, oh, okay, they're doing Journey now.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Shadow of Colossus. I did think that
Exactly.
too.
Yeah, so where you guys all just totally. I thought it was kind of cool, but I was totally shocked.
It was
by
they legitimately got me surprised as far as Halo.
I think our friend Jay made a good point. Why does a man in a suit of armor need to wear?
Because it looks awesome.
It's
That is true.
That's all there is.
Maybe it's just a camouflage or something. Look like the locals, but
Well,
yeah.
the green doesn't really blend with the desert.
Yeah, not so much.
And apparently he just can't take off that armor.
So now, Ryan, earlier you mentioned the technical difficulties that Microsoft experienced with the sound dropping out during a couple trailers, which is pretty bad.
Pretty bad for Battlefield 4, worse for Crimson Dragon.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward
Which
at
I
points.
completely missed at some point because there was like a Crimson Dragon. Like that happened.
Right, exactly. It
Which
makes it-
could be a really cool game.
Yeah,
but it's
but
like,
the
it's hard
sound
to get the
adds so
effect-
much to it.
It really does.
But Sony didn't have a flawless presentation either. With their two super stuttery demos.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because live presentations always have some kind of quirks, but I don't think we've seen anything quite at this level.
I mean, does it really surprise you with all the technical difficulties that Sony's had in the past with like, live demos? Like, just think about Wonder Books. Just
Yeah.
That was a lighting problem. That's probably why we didn't see any Kinect or iToy stuff
I
at
think
all.
they probably learned
They
the
just-
lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't obviously. As much as you want to put it on me, I'm not a huge Sony fanboy. Virtual Boy represents still, but it's disconcerting that you are seeing these things happening, even though again it's E3 and everyone else is already on edge as it is, and I'm sure these games aren't completed. But it really did impact like those presentations. Like, I was really interested in seeing AC4
Right.
Yeah.
completely and not like falling
Well,
apart.
yeah, they were good presentations, but on the other hand, it was like, okay, this is a live demo because I told you before how I had trouble discerning that with a lot of the Xbox games.
Whereas here, it's like, yeah, that's probably a live demo, because why would they show it if it's
stuttering? Like
yeah,
that,
exactly.
Unless they're like having streaming difficulties.
Yeah, I think a good sort of one to look back at was the original Halo. When we played at E3, the frame rate was ass.
Yeah, it ran like
pretty
garbage, yeah.
But they fixed it before it actually came out. So, like, considering how well these games ran for the most part, they should be able to get rid of that stuttering.
It's a good thing you said original Halo, because we had no idea which game you're talking about otherwise.
Yeah.
Not the remade one
Combat
on
Evolved.
360.
Not Halo 1, but
The first. The very first one.
Oh, whoa, what? Actually, wait, are they actually doing that for this new Halo? Like, that's why it's like Halo and then like Halo.
We don't know. It's
Oh,
just
wow.
weird that they don't have Halo 5.
Yeah, that's strange.
It
We're
should
covering
be.
the conspiracy right here on GameXplain.
Yeah.
It should be Halo, like Halo 0. And I think that's a good time to start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
So any...
Well, price points.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
actually, that's a good point. I wanted to bring that...
And also PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
I mean,
and,
I
and
think
the
that's
PlayStation Plus
Yeah.
As well.
Who cares?
Worth-
No, we should bring that up. No,
No,
actually,
it's totally
it ties in.
important.
It totally ties in. Okay, so we're not gonna wrap it up quite yet. No, actually, I do want to mention that is the price difference between the two, because when Microsoft announced what $499.
Yes.
I was surprised. I thought they would come in maybe at 400 most. 500 is expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
That is 150 more than the premium at Wii U, and only 100 less than what PS3 was charging a few years ago.
Yeah, for the PlayStation 3 when it came out.
And
just bombed out.
that got exactly. They spent years trying to recover from that. Whereas Sony's price is 400 in total, $399.
Yeah.
And I think
that
that's
just sealed the deal. Like,
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of wondering, because it seems like from the alleged breakdowns of what they have in there, it's pretty much comparable stuff. Sony might have them a little more expensive, so are they taking a price like hit? It seems like they said like going to this, we're not going to take a hit on the system.
right.
Yeah.
So who's like jacking who around?
Well, it seems Microsoft. Well, I don't know. I mean, Microsoft seems to be offering a overall weaker system, but you do get Connect with it, which
Yeah.
is
which
which
will
costs
add
them
that
money.
cost.
But here's the thing that I was talking to someone before about it. They were talking about how the PlayStation 4 might not have the camera. Didn't they say originally that you need the camera for the controllers to work, because that's using the same little light bar on there? Is what
I don't know if they said you needed it to work.
I haven't heard that at all.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. I mean,
Yeah.
it does interface with it.
We saw the eye display when they showed off
Right.
the system.
But even
they didn't talk about it at all.
they
That's
did
the
it.
funny thing.
I don't know if it's we don't know if it's included or not yet, do we?
So until we hear what's in the box,
Right.
like,
Yeah, we don't.
and if there's another SKU that they're not talking about for these prices.
Yeah, there's.
But Kinect is included with the Xbox
Yes,
One,
it
though.
is.
So that could be where
for sure.
Microsoft says, hey, look at this added value.
Well,
But
no, I'm sure that's a huge part of it, and that's
Yeah.
not cheap to produce.
Sony,
Yeah.
though, you don't know if they just said, okay, we're going to beat Microsoft at any cost on their price by $100. Microsoft announces $1 for Xbox One. Sony's like, negative $99, everybody.
The thing is, like, $400, I wouldn't say is a great price point, but by comparison to what we saw earlier in the day, it seems like a really good price. Like,
Especially, well, you mentioned the Wii U at $350.
yeah.
Compare that to
Yeah.
PlayStation 4. That is a major difference. Like, especially when you have next generation of graphics.
Right.
Still to see.
Yeah, 360 is still $300 or whatever for that new
Yeah.
revision
Oh
of it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that
yeah.
is.
I just can't believe it. It's Sony just seemed to trounce Xbox.
I mean,
as
they
far as
always
system specs.
in terms of like they always and the like E3 they have the best position. So if if it was a case where they was close enough, I'm pretty sure they could make those changes. Like I'm pretty sure. Well, I guess not the shots that they took at Microsoft, because that was all old, but.
Right.
Like they knew exactly the points where they could just twist the dagger a little bit more.
Yeah, that was pretty entertaining. Like,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was just fun to watch the fans that got into the show just erupt whenever they announced every single little point.
But it wasn't even just the fans though. That was much louder than the
Yeah,
fans.
that's true.
That was the
Everybody
exact
had it on.
opposite reaction.
Yeah,
of the
Everybody that was
AT&T,
so worried
Vita
about
stuff.
Xbox One and just praying that Sony would not follow suit,
Right.
erupted in that.
Like the used games, and we haven't really mentioned that. Like
Yeah.
Sony.
Right, how you can buy used games. Yeah, they made a big deal about that. Like everything basically that people have been up in arms about with the Xbox One, not factored at all on the PS4.
Would you like
apparently.
to lend games to people? Do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
the
Yeah.
disc-based ones. They didn't mention anything about digital games. So that's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
selling
they
digital
also were
ones.
very lenient with like game sharing to begin with.
Yeah,
That's true.
they kind of cracked down on it, but you could still do it a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't like 5 accounts can be accounts.
Yeah, now it's down to 2.
Yeah, speaking of value and price points, we're kind of on this topic now with PlayStation Plus.
You have to buy it now.
Yeah, it's
you
No,
have to
you-
buy it if you want multiplayer.
yeah. So because in their little chart in the rundown, it's like, oh, you get all the same features from before, including being able to play online games on the PS3. Except if you want to play online games on the PS4, you need the PlayStation.
Like, I'm surprised
you know,
not more
Plus.
people were catching on to that right away. Like,
I
Yeah,
think
that was
I've
a-
seen
wait a
a
second.
couple
The
people
wording.
notice, but they just
Like,
hit it.
They
just
did hit
right.
it, yeah.
The immersive online
Yeah.
multiplayer experiences
Yeah.
or something like that.
And he even spoke it, but it's just sort of like everybody was so high on all
Right.
the other announcements they didn't quite catch it. A couple people, of course,
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme, it's still a better value than live because
Yeah.
that's as far as I can tell, that's the only thing restricted by PlayStation Plus because you can still access Netflix, Crackle, all their other video services
right.
without PlayStation Plus. So if you are just a dedicated single player gamer, do not care about the multiplayer at all, you're set. You do
Right.
not have to get it. And if you do, there's games for you. There's savings. I mean, I know you love PlayStation Plus.
it's been like you're getting like 3 awesome games like this week, I think, and like they're giving like more away like all the time. I'm in because I gotta finish all those games. I have way too many to play.
Yeah.
You gotta play Ratchet and Clank all for one. It's really just
Yeah.
a great
I'll do that at some
So-
point.
killer game. But
So I know I'm convinced as far as which system between the two. I know PlayStation 4 all the way. Kingdom Hearts sort of sold that, and then they just hammered the point in for me. PlayStation 4 or Xbox?
I mean, my girlfriend's gonna like require that I get a PlayStation 4, but
Plus,
I'm still interested in the Xbox. I want to see. They have games that I'm still interested in. It's not
Yeah.
Halo and everything else like that, but they do have franchises that, especially with Rare being wrapped up,
Yeah.
that I really want to see still.
No, they definitely have worthwhile games.
But they seriously have to like fix their message or something to me to like to buy. And it's definitely not a day one for me.
What about you, Andre, with the Nintendo?
I mean, principally, the PlayStation 4 is a lot more attractive at this point. But they also didn't show a ton of games I'm personally interested in, and
Yeah.
neither did Microsoft, really. But, I do like Halo games. Well, the first few Halo games. I'm hoping this new one, is good. It, returns to the classic game style. So, I mean, at this point, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough yet about the games themselves to say either way.
Yeah.
But principally speaking, as far as like the feature set offered and the price point, PlayStation
Yeah.
4 is very clearly like the winner, I think.
One thing was mentioned though, like normally the price isn't released
E3.
until later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like,
weird.
So Microsoft announced their release date too, but did Sony announce their release
It's a
date?
holiday.
Like
I
holiday.
think
You can pre-order
we're saying
it.
holiday, but it could be also a group thing on that one.
Yeah.
They're saying holiday, but I would be shocked if they didn't get it out before Black Friday.
I mean, Microsoft, I think,
Given,
they said
yeah.
November, but I'm pretty sure they had November 21st on there, right?
I hear a lot of people saying November 21st. I missed it personally because I was trying to get as
thought
many
I saw
notes as
that.
could.
I don't know if you guys remember. Okay.
The guy next to me and a couple other people were saying November 21st, but that's the date we kind of got.
Either way, there's no way they're going to launch after Black Friday. So that means we're going to have two branded systems within just weeks of each other at most.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which hasn't happened that many
Rarely.
times. Yeah.
Hey,
Wii and
there could
Xbox
be a
360.
new Wii system.
Wii U,
Wii U
Slim.
too.
Wii U too. Well, there you go. and that's going to cue some more a lot more fans for you.
I want to see something cool out of the.
Yeah, well,
We're all excited for the direct.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think actually this is a good place to wrap it up because we have a ton of Wii U coverage coming tomorrow with Nintendo's Nintendo Direct starting at 7 a.m. and Pacific time.
So damn early.
Plus we'll be going
Sleep. What's that?
And we'll be going hands on with most of those games just a few hours later before the E3 doors officially open. So, well, thanks guys for sitting down and having a little chat with me about these press conferences. And yeah, stay tuned to GameXplain.com for far more coming up very soon. On
GameXplain shirt.
On not just Nintendo, but other companies as well. Especially these two guys have anything to do
with it.
We'll
make sure of it.
All right, thanks guys. Bye.
Sure, boy.